We hope you don't have any plans tonight, as we have big matches happening here in HGC Europe. We're going to a game number 5 here between Tricked Esports and Zealots, which is going to be our second 5-game series of the day.
Yep, 2 in a row. Loving it. And we had actually a pretty nice comeback though also from Tricked. So it comes down to the 5th map, and the Zealots, they are starting to show some nerves here. They need to really buckle down and make sure that they win the next map if they want to start this second part of Phase 2 off with a victory. Tricked, on the other hand, they have an opportunity to establish themselves a little bit more on that second spot that they have taken yesterday in the standings. I
blame Garrosh. The guy cannot win, man, it seems like. Let's go ahead and get ready for game number 5 here. Which battleground are we going to? It's going to be Towers of Doom.
Yep, Towers of Doom is going to be the map, and that could be an explosive game. Again, we have thrown the Vikings around a little bit earlier on today already as a potential pick. Don't want to jinx it here, but this is still a map where Shad has played Vikings in the past, so at least it's a concern.
Yeah, certainly is a concern, something that could pop up, especially on Towers, Cursed Hollow, usually the battlegrounds that you would have them pop up if they were to show up. So we'll see if that will be coming in here from Shad. I wouldn't mind it. Would love to see his Vikings gameplay. Always good to see that. But Towers of Doom is also a battleground that we see a lot of aggression when it comes to Tricked Esports. They don't mind getting in your face, finding a bell tower, controlling it, and just taking that momentum and running with it.
Yeah, and so far, we have seen a lot of momentum for Trick thanks to the 2 wins that they just secured. So they are definitely the team that at this point is a little bit favorite going into this. But the draft, of course, is going to reveal a lot here. And when we're talking about the draft, we have once again first ban, first pick on the side of the Zealots. We don't hesitate to ban out Abathur.
Goodbye, Abathur. He'll be banned out. Trick Esports thinking about the ban they want to move into. Will they ban out Oriole once again? Zealots don't mind moving into it. But whenever Oriole has not been banned out, we have seen them been moving into Tassadar.
Yeah, Oriole immediately being banned. So the 2 teams basically hold true with the 2 bans that we have seen prioritized, and that also extends to the first pick. As in the last 2 games, the team that has the first pick aims for Tassadar right away. This game being no exception.
So, Tricked, last time that we saw them give up the Tassadar, they just moved straight into the Genji and the Uther, which I don't think there's any case where I'm sitting here thinking, meh, not worth it. I think they just go into it right away.
Especially with Marke, you could definitely open up with the exact same thought process, saying Genji, Uther, that's our dream team in the first rotation. Marke has shown once more in the last game how strong he can be there. I feel like one exception, if they could have used Tassadar, they might have gone into a Tracer composition instead, which started off that comeback actually.
Yeah.
But right now, Brightwing and Uther, double support is going to be the play. So with Brightwing already signaling, even if you take Genji, we are going to have a tool available against you. And also, this is going to deter the Zealots heavily from potentially committing to, let's say, an Illidan.
Yeah.
Since there's several stuns available and Polymorph on top of that.
Any type of heavy melee assassin just does not seem very appropriate to go into that Brightwing/Uther composition. This is also put Zealots in a weird spot where they may have to use their ban just to ban out the Genji in case of any other different type of strategy they would like to pull off. Zealots now need to make a decision. What do they want to move into to be able to set themselves up? I have been asking for them to run some double supports as of late, but they have seemed to be favoring the ETC or even a warrior composition as much as they can. They keep moving into Haka.
I mean, they have their double support already set up, so Tassadar requires a second one. But the Haka for the top lane would be a good choice. You have Brightwing already on the other side, so you want to have your own global, and that's what they do. And they complement that with ETC, who was also a big part of the 2 victories that they had earlier on. So for now, going back into something that they use, it allows Trick to ban out one of the potential hyper carries here, banning a Vala, banning a Lunara. But let's see if they go down that path. They of course have also the opportunity to take one of these heroes themselves and try to limit the potential pool for the Zealots even more.
Yeah, they've been banning out those Vala, as they didn't want to face it the last time they got the Tassadar. See if they want to go down that route again. I think there is always a chance of banning out the support, as you're mentioning, limiting it, making it a little bit more difficult for Zealots to move into. I think Zealots, I'm already looking towards their ban. I think you just straight up ban out the Genji when it comes down to it. Right? You don't leave it up, there's no way.
No, you could definitely ban him out here. Rhaegar being targeted, okay, that's also pretty solid. That leaves Karazim. Could see theoretically Morales. Very rarely, we had it today in the game between Fnatic and Dignitas. So Morales could be picked where you have Malfurion still available, and of course Karazim himself. Genji immediately locked away. No chance for him to have an appearance in this game. Marcus just a bit too strong on the hero, and with Trick prioritizing Brightwing and Uther, both of the supports over Genji, Zealots take that little gift there. And we get Alex on Diva.
That's an
Okay.
oldie. Diva and Vala. Okay then. It's been a while since we've seen the Diva, but Trick Esports was one of the few that pulled her out when she did come into the HGC and, of course, Heroes of the Storm, and they ran it pretty darn well. Also, it's something that we've seen as a counter strategy to hyper carry type of compositions. You find the opposing member that is going to be the main damage, and you literally just sit on top of their face. You drop down the defense matrix, you bring in the Diva, you build around those health bars, and you just really keep up with it. So now suddenly, Zealots, who love to run these really strong compositions that have one hyper carry, might have a hard time.
And what do you play here? Do you go into Karazim or do you play with Malfurion? And what is the last pick in terms of damage? Is it going to be Lunara?
I like Malfurion against Diva heavily because you drop down the root. If she ever gets caught in there with the mech and she falls out of her mech, she gets rooted again. You turn around, drop the Twilight Dream, and you force a kill.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I'm just wondering what the damage output is going to be like for them. Since they go up against Brightwing Uther, they should have a decent time out healing anything that, for example, Lunara can throw in. Oh, Stukov, I even forgot about him. Stukov and Lunara. Okay, so a Tassadar Stukov composition. I absolutely forgot about Stukov.
Yep.
Didn't even cross my mind for a second.
Gives a little bit more room for your Lunara to dance around. You have the silence set up, have the constant healing peeling out. Between that and Prog Rock from ETC, you should be okay at sustain. And you have Tassadar too with the shields. Okay.
Another melee now needed, still, for Trick. What do you play on the top lane now? Always assuming that Arthas is going to be on Diva. You still need a main tank, unless they're
You
shifting
call
it around.
Alex Aproji Arthas?
Did I?
You did. He embodies your Arthas. It's okay.
I mean, when you think about Arthas for
You
Trick, then
think
you also
Alex.
think about Alex. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
I mean, Diva can be fine in the top lane. You're looking for a main tank, right?
Yeah.
Looking for your engager.
Unless they are really shifting it around and put Rema on Diva. Which I'm not quite sure they would. I would definitely think.
Oh! This is not tricked.
That's new.
Do we have the names backward?
No, I don't think so. But I like it. I expected the Vikings to be played, if anything, then by Shat, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah. Tricked, working on some different cheeses. They did mention in a couple of their interviews they may consider this one of their cheeses, but Zealots now will have to deal with the onslaught the Vikings bring to Towers of Doom.
Who plays the Vikings?
I don't know, man. I guess Rimmer? You think?
That's weird.
I mean, Olaf is a tank.
Yeah. You can make that argument literally for every single role.
Balog's a tank.
Balog's is more than a tank. He's a heavy assassin.
That's right. He
He
brings
can
it in.
easily 1 versus 2.
I mean, Rimmer has been flexible in the past. He took over the main tank role
Yeah.
for the team here, so I think it might be Rimmer on the Vikings. We're about to find out here as we're back to jump
I
into the
already
game.
looked. I know.
Who was it?
Rema.
Let's see. I called that. Are you proud of me?
Yes, I'm very proud of you.
Getting Caldor's approval since 2017, man. Moving up in the world here. How do you see this panning out? First off, we've never seen Rimmer's Vikings, so
I mean, they pulled it off in the last game of the series after
Yeah.
they just fought back.
so
So,
they're confident.
yeah, they're really confident. They must be confident in this. And they also played against De Haag. Like, I just want to watch it, to be honest. At this point, I have no idea. I don't know what to expect here. I haven't really seen that, not even in scrims that I watched from them. So I am hyped for this.
Well, I have news for you. It's time to start game number 5 here. Let's go into Towers of Doom. Tricked Esports pulling out the Vikings gameplay against the Zealots. Will it pay off? Time to find out.
Game number 5, the last map of the series. It's Tower of Doom with Knappe on Brightwing, Crosby on Vala for Tricked Esports, and Rimmer Baller currently on the Vikings with Alex jumping on a Diva. And of course, we have a Make again on Uther here. Get Tricked, ladies and gentlemen, as Tricked Esports is aiming for another win.
The Zealots on the right side in the red. Shad playing Tassadar, Mopsio playing ETC, Poik playing Lenora, Zarmany on Dahaka, and Grandpa on Stukov.
Stukov once again going straight into the Lurking Arm build, so he wants to make sure that we're going to see some silence dropped in this game. But yep, Viking Bribery on level 1. And I have never, I don't remember seeing Trick really pulling off a Viking strategy in HGC. So I'm pretty excited to see what they can pull off here. This could be really, really good or really, really bad.
Well, we're going to watch as it unfolds. Zealots putting in the work and looking great today in the HGC. But has the work paid off enough? And it's finally time to get that verdict here. In Game 5, and they're going to have to do it against such an unorthodox comp from a team that we did not expect it from.
It was also overall already a super interesting series. I didn't expect Zealots to come out swinging with a 2-0 lead against Trick, and I found it even more impressive that after losing 2 games in the fashion they did, Trick was able to bounce back and force this 5th game. That was pretty solid. Now, Trick has a bit of a history of losing the 5th game in any series, even if they make a comeback, so that's of course something they try to break through. And so far, they are definitely pulling on the damage down at the bot lane. That's a heavy amount of pressure, enabled by the Vikings soaking 2 lanes, of course, since they can now rotate with a 4-man.
Power Slide goes in, it misses out, and Crosby turns around for the punish. The Vikings working on keeping up with the experience here, but in the next few seconds is where we're going to see how Trick Esports is going to handle the 3 altar phase that will be spawning. Typically, on the first 3 altar phase, you want to try to grab 2 with the Vikings, but it's not the end of the world if you miss out on it. But the 4-man so far for Trick Esports has been handling themselves quite well, keeping Zealots at bay.
Yeah, they've definitely done a solid amount of damage and put the work in. And now they're even trying to go for the camps, and they're attempting to steal those. They are not afraid of anything here. Question is, does the Haka now move in? Oh, Vala really low, tries to escape. Explosion being used. Mobsio falls very low. There's no stun just yet, as we have Alex jumping straight into the next mech. Crosby is on the run. The camp not stolen away just yet, but oh, Brightwing falls, and yep, she does.
A little bit of aggressive maneuver from Trick Esports, not paying off, and Make is the next target here. Does Army hit the tongue? He does. Drag comes out, but the defense matrix may be enough to keep Make alive. He'll be stressed out and get low on health, but at least he survives.
Yeah, he survives, and we have in the meantime an interrupt up to the top, but top left is already channeled through. Make is toying with fire here. He's out of mana, he's out of life. He really needs to get out of here. They can delay this a little bit longer. Shots are fired as Tacita is still being interrupted by Dr. Eric up at the top. So we still have 2 altars that are active on the map.
One to the bottom and one to the top right. Tassadar is having to deal with Eric on Balak, but Make at the same time getting low on mana stats with the stun anyways, trying to force his fight. And over time, Poik is going to break through this front line, and he eventually does. Grandpa goes ahead, turns around, grabs the altar, and 2 of the altars will be utilized. 1 more still left.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, the Vikings have just interrupted the top lane over and over again. To a point where Tacita just said, okay, screw this, it's not even worth it. I'm just going to focus on soaking the experience here to not lose out on the Vikings. But the Haga now started to move in, and Trick basically already gave up on the city and simply said, let's focus on the minions instead. We also have with the level 4 talent for the Vikings, you know, an opportunity to just make those Zappers a little bit stronger and burst through. It's a super strong talent, the mercenaries here. And yeah, let's see how much damage they can do, because so far the fights have been actually pretty even overall.
Yep, 7 will be a good point for both of our teams here. Vala for that multi-shot build. Also, same time, Lennar getting that Splinter Spear. Alex and Pro-G does have a bomb available. If they really want to force this mercenary push, they can drop it, but they're going to go ahead, just break through pretty aggressively through their opponents and make them get in.
I like how they use the Mercenary Lord on the Vikings at this point. They're really doing a good job keeping one of the Vikings around just to break through the wall, and they successfully do that. Alex with the defense matrix, always making sure that they are protecting everything here. The teams hit level 7 pretty much at the same time. But overall, it's still working out quite nicely for Trick. Vikings are extremely strong in the late game as well. This is something that a lot of people underestimate. They always assume that it's the early game where they shine. And while they can enable a 4-man push in the beginning of the game, their late game presence and their also like their push power is nothing to sneer on. So they can do a lot with that.
That will be coming on later on after we get past 10. 13, 16. 16 in particular is the one that you're talking about where you get those power spikes with Olaf getting that stun available in the team fights. If you can get out on top of that back line, Lenara or even Stukov lock them down. Control is always nice, but right now, speaking of control, Silence out on D.Va.
Yeah, the thing with the Vikings is also, it's not even only about the team fight capabilities that you have after 16. If you go for Fury of the Storm on 20, you have so much push power that when there's simply one Viking on a lane, especially if it's Olaf, you have an insane amount of wave clear. So your opponent is always in a super awkward spot where they are trying to match someone on the lane to push you back, but they can't because they need to focus on the team fights as well. But we're not there yet by any means. For now, it's just about the single altar down here at the bottom. And it's a 4 versus 4 fight since the Haka is trying to meet the Viking rotations.
And it's all going to be about the poke here. Trick Esports moving slowly but surely forward to grab the altar. Shad will be able to drop down the side storm to keep the altar delayed. Poik is a bit low on mana, so he probably has 1 or 2 exchanges overall before he's going to have to decide to maybe back on up.
Yeah, and we have still the Vikings surviving. And Remaball does a very good job against the Haka in particular. I'm actually surprised how solid he is with that. That's a great explosion, and Mobstio is down. ETC dies as Diva gets the detonator in. The Haka moves in though and makes it a 1-for-1 trade as Uther has fallen now. But this is not over just yet. Zaman in particular is suffering as he's getting attacked over and over again. Let's not forget that at the top lane now, Eric has pushed in another wave of minions trying to get those zappers into play. So with the Haka moving to the bot lane, they're starting to lose out on experience.
Yeah, 10 hits here too. And Zealots is back on up. Even with the bio kill switch, they can't quite stay alive long enough here, nor do they get the kills. Zomni goes in for maybe an engage, decides to go in and back on up. Shad with the delay, 10 about to hit for Zealots too. Can they get 10 in time? They do, and guess who's back? Mopsio.
Yeah, Mopsio is back, but still, the value of the Vikings in the mid and at the top lane, the longer this lasts, the better for them. Alex, on the other hand, is going to be dropped out of mech again soon. There comes the Divine Storm. Follow up by Vala with a Rain of Vengeance, and this is ETC in trouble, gets the shield and moves away. Right wing falling, and Uther getting dragged for a potential second kill. Very well done by the Zealots. Experience lead still on the side of Trick Esports thanks to the Vikings play, but Zealots definitely putting in some work here down at the bot lane.
And they can make up here and break that experience lead by breaking down the bell tower. They opened up the turret walls. Don't think they can fully move in and take that up, but they have sent Haka back to soaking duty. He's here in the middle, and now Zealots are able to grab a slight experience lead thanks to those turrets.
It was a really interesting fight at the bottom of the map, and I could have seen the Haka even falling there. They had a couple of opportunities to maybe drop a second hero, and it didn't quite work out. When it comes to kills, therefore, the Zealots have taken a heavy lead with 5 kills against 1. But the Vikings definitely pressured mid and top lane now. The Haka is trying to counter-soak again, but experience is still pretty much even. And we're working towards that late game where we already said that the Trick Esports is going to have a lot of really cool tools available to them.
They do find Poyok. Alex moving forward, gets knocked back on Lenara and pulls him in.
Yeah, and again, Mercenary Lord being used down here. Ah, he's not quite in range,
they're holding
but there we go, but they can't defend them. So they're not moving in. Good defense by the Zealots, really well done.
Gonna hold him in there. Rimmer getting low, but that's just so off. He should be okay. Baylog is kind of floating around the middle. Needs to get that pushing in there. Daka on the top side. 2 altars will activate. One at the top left and one at the top right. Here is where it's going to be a bit odd. How does Zealots rotate up to that top 2 altars while they have to defend the bell tower at the same time?
Yeah, they can't really. Trick just needs to stay at the bot lane and then they can simply move around their opponent. But now, that's a bit of a concern here. Okay, so they have the second mech for Alex and they go in. They actually move up. I'm not sure if they really have to do that. They could have pushed this a little bit more even at the bot lane, but they want to get the interrupt towards the right side. Already vision granted, and Eric is going to channel that through, but Tassadar is trying to go for the even exchange, and that is going to work out for them.
No, not too bad. A 1-for-1. Hang on the bottom left, though. Mopsio's in a spot where he might be able to catch Brightwing on the movement down to the bottom bell tower. They do find Nabe. He drops down the Polymorph. He hasn't used Power Slide quite yet. Decides against it. They pull back and go back to defense.
Yeah, overall, I really like the pressure that comes out of Tricked. The thing is, the Zealots actually do a really good job when it comes to experience. They're still on level 13, even with Tricked. The one point what concerns me a little bit is if you play against Vikings, the pressure on both of the lanes is still quite strong of what Rema can put out there. And now we're having the bot lane being assailed again. And in the long run, Tricked has a really good chance of just whittling down against the defenses of the Zealot.
Whittling is definitely the right word here. They've done 3 pushes down there. They've only gotten a smidgen of health removed on that bell tower, while Zormi in the top has at least gotten that bell tower down to half health.
Yeah, Trick could do a little bit better with that 4-man. I absolutely agree on that. I think they have the chance to make a bit more happen, especially at the top lane, since they're going to lose out on the bell tower, so they need to make something happen down here. Keep in mind that most of the time this has been a 4 versus 3. Tassadar has rotated heavily towards the mid lane over and over again to make sure that they are not losing out on experience before he rotates back down. So arguably, Trick needs to make some plays down here. With the Viking composition, you should at least from a structural point of view start to take a bit of a lead.
Well, one altar does spawn, a couple of mercs do make it on in. Make's in the weird side of a bell tower, massive mosh pit connecting, but it will get interrupted while Alex Aproji's on the right side. He's going to drop the bomb, they're moving in.
Yeah, they're going in, but Make is going to fall. Make is down, and that is a problem. The Vikings move in as well. They are all out on this fight now. They want to get some value, and already we have Bunny Hop activated, trying to at least push Tassadar back in. Doesn't work quite out for them, but Dehaka is still being chased. 2 altars are active, and already the channel has started on one of them. Nope, I'm lying, it's only one. And Vala is down. Uther down and Vala down. Zealots are definitely now starting to showcase how strong they were in game number 1 and number 2. They have 4 shots now fired since the bottom tower was of course exchanged against the top one. Alex is also going to fall here. And yeah, Chick is starting to lose ground heavily.
And they're about to take a pretty big control of the map here. Got the bell tower on the bottom right side. Trick Esports will have to put resources towards the top left to clear that bell tower back out. But this does mean that Zealots with their 16 tower spike here can start to move in and work on the middle tower or even the bottom tower at the same time. And then they're actually going to go ahead and rotate in for the mercenary camp too and grab the sappers. They're in a really solid spot. But there is the 3 altar phase coming up.
And also the level 16 talent for Trick, which will help a lot with the stun on Olaf for the Vikings to get good flanks in against Lunara or even against someone like Zukov. So there is still hope for them. Stun has large in charge. Stun has now been taken. But it's definitely pretty impressive what the Zealots are playing here thus far. So Trick needs to make the 16 fight count.
If they get the fight, where is their engagement point? It feels like it's going to be on one of these altars. No, he's spawning on the next 3 phases here. That's where they make their big turnaround and make their big moment to happen. You try to soak one of the altars to the top left and then have one of your Vikings in a spot where you can use play again. Go in for the hard engage. Get on that back line. Trying to find Stukov. Get Lunara. And then, of course, after that, you can introduce Chaos in with D.Va.
I also have to... I'm not 100% sure why we have Balog the entire time in the mid lane. I would have really put him up to the top. He has much better wave clear than Eric, and it would help them to simply push against Dehaka. It's easier to rotate into the middle instead, but they don't really do that right now. So that's the one thing that I don't quite understand about the way how Remaballer approaches the Viking play. I think they would be in a better spot defending the top lane if they put Balog in that position.
Eric has an easier time at getting away from Dehaka, even if you miss out on the tongue. It could be that. If you can hit the tongue and you move into the auto attack.
Congratulations, you don't lose Eric, but you lose the bell tower.
I'm just trying to give you perspective, man. You don't have to shut me down. I'll just, you know, here's Eric. He's swift.
I mean,
okay?
What did he do?
Oh, hang on, though. Big Divine Storm into a D.Va destruction. Lunara is down. That's huge for Zealots.
Yeah, that's actually really big. And they didn't even have to use Large and in charge, so they didn't commit the Vikings to that either. Eric is now interrupting up at the top. We have still in the middle Balog, but a bit like Zealots, they need to somehow make sure that they're not losing more than that. And oh, that was a good attempt with a strafe to drop Grand Paqueta as well. Not quite successful, but they want to go for the bell tower, and they're actually starting to go in for it.
Trying to lock him down here on the side. Mopsy is doing his best to keep him in this area. He'll have a power slide up pretty soon, but he has to be careful. He's getting chunked, and that's a dead cow.
Yeah, that's a dead cow. Zamani wants the drag though, but that cleanse was on point, and he moves straight into the double storm to make sure that he dies anyway.
Zealots, you're starting to goof, man. You need to calm down. Zarmani in trouble too. Alex gets the big knockback here. Uther dropping off a few heals. He was picked off, but the bell tower goes back into control of Trick Esports.
Yeah, Uther kinda... That was a bit of a grief move there by Mike. He was safe after the cleanse.
He thought he was Genji for a second.
Yeah, I was a bit too excited. He didn't have to move into the storm there. I think he could have actually survived that. Anyways, good, very good trade for Trick because they are still a level ahead. They claimed the bottom bell tower. So now they start to really get all that value that we've been talking about a bit earlier.
And now they can take their push of the 4-man into the middle lane. They can put Olaf in the bottom, push him with those sappers, that bribe constantly coming online. Crosby taking some poke here from Poik, though, as he's looking to make a play.
Yeah, they at least push him back for now, but still, the problem still remains the same. The earlier level 20, Trick now all of a sudden gaining the map control, having the extra bell tower, and after 20, they have so much more utility on the Vikings, no matter what level 20 talent they go for. You can go for the Fury of the Storm here, which really helps you with the push power. At the same time, you can just simply enhance your heroic ability. Top lane is still pressured. That Ehaka is becoming an issue. But in the mid lane, we have an exchange. So even if the top falls, they have an even trade here. Altars are activating again, and now we have the 20, and that's, of course, such a big boost for them.
Ooh, Zealots do hold off on the bell tower in the middle, though, which is good. This will stop them from taking 10 shots, instead taking only 8 if they're unable to grab the 2 altars that have spawned, which will put them down to 8 health. I would recommend just hanging out here, getting towards your level 20. Ooh, they're making a play for the bell tower in the middle. Gotta make sure they aren't caught, though, and Mopsio will scout it out, but Alex comes flying in from the side.
Yeah, Alex immediately moving in hard for this one, pushing them back. Double channel is happening, and that's only 6 shots, though, because they lost the middle bell tower. So that's the downside of it. 20 versus 20 now. We have 16 against 18 points. Zealots are still ahead when it comes to points on the core, and that's a big one.
Oh no, a fight around the boss here, and Zealots are in an odd spot. Mosh Pit does come off. Shad goes in with the Archon. They're showing away. Diva dropping the bomb, but 2 are dead for Tricked.
2 dead already, and that's the 3rd. Uther falls. He has redemption. The rest is trying to rush away. The Vikings in particular. We have the 20 upgrade here, so they are going straight for the play again, but still, that was a big win for the Zealots here. Well done, and now they claim even more control with another bell tower taken down. The Zealots in a really solid spot here, going for the boss play.
Yeah, they are, and already Tricked is working on the middle bell tower. They are forced to deal with that with Dahaka running to the bottom and pushing in the bell tower. Gotta make sure you don't get those extra shots coming your way. Zealots over here will go ahead and break the boss easily. So there's 4 more shots for them, putting Tricked Esport down to 12. And things just got very hairy for Tricked.
Especially since they're now starting to lose the bot lane as well. The barrage is going to start any moment. It actually does. They get the barrage started, and Uther is dead. Uther is down, and now the shots are being fired. This could be the beginning of the end very well. Even, I mean, this is horrible for Tricked.
Yeah, is this game? How do they break this?
I don't think they can.
Diva has a bomb.
If there's another altar now spawning, even if they move back, it's gonna be game.
Hang on, Mopsio might be in trouble. He gets Emerald Wind and thrown into the kill zone. So now they can turn around and look at the bell tower. It keeps sieging away, but at least they got a takedown.
Okay, so 7 points on the core. 7 points that barely puts them outside of the GG zone if that altar at the bot lane is captured by the Zealots. Alright, Knappe might fall. Crosby is already dead. Knappe moves out, and he's barely gonna get away. Yeah, okay, he got healed up. But still, the altar's gonna be channeled. That's gonna be 1 point on the core for Tricked.
Get those pushing in the bottom, and then that should be the game. If they can get 1 mercenary in. So Tricked Esport will have to make sure to hold down this bottom side. They put Brightwing in the top to at least start working on a bell tower.
It's 40 seconds until we are seeing Vala back in the game.
Diva can knock him back, the mercenaries, so they can be focused down.
Yeah, but with Grandpa Cat in the sidelines, he can even just go for his own ult. He can just like flay them away.
That's true. All right. We'll see if they can handle the sappers that are coming in. They have met the entrance. The bomb will be used. It gets through. Will the bomb be enough? Oh, it almost knocks them in, but they're defending. The Emerald Wind even being used. Tricked Esports stays in the game.
They stay in the game for now. Vikings also still there. Vala back in 4. It's still 18 versus 1.
This is looking impossible.
Yeah, this is looking very much like it's checkmate. I mean, how can you come back at this point? You need to win big team fights, and for now, it's just all about those Zapper camps, which is exactly why the Zealots are focusing on the next one. But at least Tricked is now starting to reclaim their own bell towers, and they're starting with the one at the bot lane, which is the most dangerous one. They have also 2 Vikings at the top, so that helps and allows them to just negate some of that pressure. But they have to win every single altar at this point.
Bomb is available for Alex Aproji. Will he drop it? He does. They're trying to force a fight on the side here. They turn around, they look at Mopsio. Mopsio's low. He gets away with the bolt. Alex Aproji diving forward, though, slowing them down.
Bunny Hop being used, slowing him down a little bit more, trying to boost him in. Uther falls again. Knappe is down once more. They are trying to fight for this one. Knappe having a really rough game here. 7 deaths already. He had Redemption, but still, that's a big cooldown to burn.
Well, it's Make, but Make with the 7 deaths, no, it's been hurting. Luckily with the Redemption, he is able to turn around and make it work here. 2 altars, though, Calidor. One to the top left, one to the top right. Crosby moves in, drops some damage. He's taking pressure. Make steps forward for the stun, but he'll get slowed, and this might be the 8th death. Big mosh pit goes in.
Mosh pit is in. Vala is down. Stuns are not doing anything here. Tassadar as the counter kill. We have one of the Vikings moving to the top right as the top left is already being channeled. This is not over just yet, but it's getting rough here. Alex is attempting to delay them as much as he can. First altar channel, they get this one, but over here, this is the fight that they need to win, and this is going to be nearly impossible.
But having Vala, man, this is going to be quite possible. They're going to go ahead and use play again, dive forward. They have to body out Lenara. They're bodying out Lenara. Alex the Proji, with the help of the Vikings, are able to pull it off. He's trying to get one more bomb off before he falls. He's going to have to start cutting away. He cannot get dragged here by Dahaka. Zarmany, Mopsio, looking for the power slide, looking for the gauge. Alex the Proji low on health, but Make is healing. Rimmer is channeling.
Grand Paquette nearly dying as the Vikings moved in once again, but he's still alive here. Diva goes down, and the Vikings are still fighting as much as they can together with Make, but he's low on mana. He has nearly no mana left, and Mopsio is starting to just eliminate everyone here. The stun comes in.
What?
Kill against ETC, the Viking MVP.
And Vala's up. Even if Rimmer isn't able to get this here, Vala will be on the way. Should be beelining straight on from the mount. Make is low on health, but he should be able to dance long enough here to eventually get it. Lenar's back here in 17 seconds, but here's Crosby.
Yeah, Crosby's back. Vala is in and is starting to get the damage. Needs to be careful. The drag could be a problem. Stuns are coming in. Uther, Make is about to fall. Not sure if Redemption is up again.
It's not.
Crosby is trying and pushes them back as much as possible, but this fight is just not over. It just doesn't stop.
Brightwing's here in 2 seconds. She will be able to phase shift in. Here she comes. One of the Vikings should be able to channel. With that peekaboo, they can move up and hold the bushes. Shadow will be able to keep delaying here. But Trick Esports has to stay in the fight. In 3 seconds, Diva's back.
Yeah, 3 seconds, but there comes the Emerald Wind. That helps, but the Storm goes through, and that's the interrupt that they needed, and this is starting to look grim. This is looking really grim. Vikings coming back on the other hand. The ult was ready once again, so the revive has started, and they're moving in, but already Olaf is down. All of them are eliminated. Coming back once more. Well, next one. This just doesn't end. The explosion is there. The bomb. Eric is dead. Olaf is dead. Everyone is dying. The Vikings are gone, but so is Stukov.
But Poik is able to stay alive here. He kept up with the pressure. He's staying up. The mosh pit will be utilized. It's missing out. Crosby is so low. Alex low too. Nape has to use the Ice Block. He finally falls, and Zealots pushes the limits, gets the victory over Tricked Esports, and they somehow, some way come out and put a full display on.
Zealots with a victory. Finally, they claim it here after 5 games. Pretty impressive. But boy, that was a game.
That was a game. That was an ending. That is for sure. Trick Esports, they tried to hold on, man. They just could not quite get the kills they wanted. Had a full duration death timer happening for both of our teams on both sides, but Zealots find the edge and get the victory.
That game, Make had a really, really rough game on Uther though. 8 deaths overall, redemption or no redemption. That redemption death, especially at the bottom left, if that doesn't happen, he has it up for the top right fight.
They need to consider maybe not putting him on supports anymore. Every time they put him on a double support, it just doesn't seem to work out for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting strategy that they used there, and I think once they had one point in the game where they really had a solid advantage. They were heading to level 20 first, and then they ran into a pretty unfortunate fight where, thanks to the mosh pit, they, I think, lost 3 heroes overall, and that's when everything turned against them. That's the point where all of the bell towers got claimed by the Zealots. But if that fight doesn't happen, if they play a little bit clearer around that, then I think they have a really good shot there. And, I mean, I would really still know from Remar why he put Balog up at the top. I think if... sorry, why he didn't put Balog up at the top. I think if they have the extra wave clear there, that it would really help them to hold on to that lane a bit longer. Because it's the lane that's the farthest away from the 4-man that they had at the bot lane. And he just struggled. They lost that tower twice to the Harker alone. Yeah. And that's a pretty big issue. I mean, it would have been rough either way, but you can hold on to it a little bit longer. You feel less pressure top. And in the mid lane, Tassadar, of course, can still outpush Eric, but you can rotate easier with the hero up and just like drop, I don't know, a quick multi-shot, for example, just to help out. So
yeah. It may have helped out, but at the same time, we got to
Yeah.
look at the Zealots, man, and give them the kudos they deserve coming in here and really showing the coordination that they've been working on for the last few weeks. It was on full display, and it was great to watch. I mean, great job to them.
They have 25 kills, by the way, in that game.
That was
25 kills to 9. But from all the games that we've seen, I really think that the games that impressed me the most were the first two that they won. Those were really the two games where I said, oh my god, this is looking so much better than what they showed us in part 1 of Phase 2. But they definitely put in a lot of work here today, and we talked about them being rumored to have stepped it up, and I think that's definitely very, very transparent today.
very, very transparent. And of course, Rick Esports sadly still not winning that game number 5, even though they had a great comeback. Both teams seem to be very evenly matched. And again, with Zealous getting a victory here and Trick Esports getting a loss, suddenly our standings for the top, 6 now look a little bit more crazy now, as Zealots are making their way towards the middle of the pack. Never thought that would be happening here, as the Playing Ducks and Good Guys still are in the bottom 2.
For Trick, this is definitely a setback.
Yeah.
They were, of course, still thinking about, okay, maybe we can make BlizzCon happen. Didn't quite work out for us with the Western Clash, but that is still a chance. But if you want to go to BlizzCon, you need to defeat a team like Zealots. There's no way around this.
Yep, gotta agree with you, man. Well, we're working on getting Poik up and available here to talk to us, and we'll get an interview with him, getting a feel for what exactly the team is going through. I guess emotionally, like, this has to be a crazy roller coaster, putting in so much work, coming into the Crucible, starting to actually compete here in the HGC towards the mid tier of the pack is a outstanding job. So we'll definitely be hitting them up very, very soon here. But don't forget, tomorrow, if you are missing out on Team Liquid and Team Expert, they will be playing tomorrow, and it's good to see them. We haven't seen them since the Western Clash. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So tomorrow should be really good once that we have the two of them also making their appearance here. And it's going to crystallize the standings a little bit more and make things a bit
Will
more
it, though?
transparent. Yeah,
Every
definitely.
time I think that we're going to have some kind of separation, something happens.
No, I mean, the big point is that really after we had already our first part, now again, it always comes down to how do you fend in a direct comparison against a direct component and direct opponent. And after the first phase, we already know the results of that. So we know then, is it going to be a 2-0 leaning towards one of the teams or 1-1 so that the map score becomes important. So that's why it's going to become pretty clear pretty soon which teams have the best shot of going to BlizzCon, qualifying directly, and who has to go through the playoffs.
Well, we got Poik here on for the interview, so let's talk to the Zealots here. Zealots, you guys have been putting in a ton of work the last couple weeks. I've been hearing rumors that you guys are getting insane, but it worked out today. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good. We kinda expected to have like a even series against them, but we always respect Trick because they have like good players and they have Alex as the leader. But yeah, I don't think we expected it to be like a 2-0 start and then go to a 5-game series.
Yeah, was there any worry when that 2-0 happened? You guys were dominating, you were doing so well, and then it started to fall off a little bit. Going into Game 5, did you feel like you guys could come together and actually get that victory?
Actually, after Game 2, I said now we have 3 chances of getting the last game. So I thought we just get this, we have 3 chances. And even if it goes to Game 5, I think if we get even draft or better draft, I think we should be able to close it out in at least one of the game, and it worked out.
Great, a level-headed approach. I'll send you over to Caldor.
First of all, congratulations, of course, also from my side. A quick question, just how did you guys spend the time from the Western Clash where you just simply could practice a little bit more? What was the one thing you focused on the most to improve now for the second part of the phase?
Actually, we have had a really shaky start to the phase 2 in terms of scrims. We have had like a lot of troubles with just not like having good scrim blocks. We have had a lot of downsides and a lot of just bad games in general with like just bad mistakes that we didn't do in the phase 1 scrims really. So I'm not sure really if we learned a lot from the drafts at the Western Clash, but not really specified anything on the practice from it. We copied, we learned from the drafts and we saw some other teams copy it as well, and then kind of try to adapt our meta into it, see what we were comfortable with.
What do you feel right now is the one thing that your team identifies still as a big weakness that you think you have to improve?
I think it's mainly our scrims tends to not we play at very different games when it comes to scrims and tournament games. I think we have to get our mindset to the scrims as it is a real tournament game. I think that's our main problem right now. If we can get that, I think, and we can get good scrim practice, like translate our like tournament games into scrims, I think we can become pretty good.
All right, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Tomorrow, you are facing off against Team Liquid, so the fun does not stop. Any early thoughts about that matchup?
We expected one win from this weekend, and now we got that. So tomorrow we're gonna go like as hard as we did today. But like if we get a lose versus Liquid, it's like we of course we want a win, but we got an important win today, and a lose versus Liquid is not something shameful. Liquid is a good team, and Trick is a good team. So one win of the weekend is great. 2 wins would be perfect. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to your games too tomorrow. Before I let you go, do you have any words to share with those at home?
Big thanks to everyone that cheered for us, and we're still looking for an organization, so you can contact us at Twitter at Zealots, I believe, and you can follow me on Twitter at Polk, please, as well.
Awesome. Well, good luck
And
to
thanks
them.
for everyone that cheered.
Perfect. Well, good luck to them, and congratulations to Zealots getting a big victory on Twitch Esports. But they'll be back tomorrow. If you enjoyed their games, they are facing off against Team Liquid, so it's going to be a great one to have for the day.
Yes,